Just gonna start it recording.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think we're at our final session today.
I'm gonna
Um,
miss everybody. I always liked looking forward to this. Yeah.
yeah, same here. Well, we can start another round in some time.
Well, we'll have to write another book.
Yeah,
No problem.
no problem.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
How's
Anyway,
everyone doing? Any questions? Or any
so
reflections? We've gone through the whole book. Any reflections or questions? Any
yeah.
feedback?
Yeah. Any
Anything you would like to say?
realizations? Yeah.
Yeah, realizations. Yeah. I
I
see
would love.
Purna Shaktimat just pulling something out.
Yeah, I would love to hear your reflections on caring for the devotees and, how you would love to start a Vaishnavas care team in your in your city and your country. So yeah, whatever you'd like to discuss.
Maybe maybe you can Sangeeta Machi, maybe you can start off and share how did you feel. I think this was your first time reading with everyone like this, right?
Yeah,
We haven't done that. We did it in Spanish. So obviously you couldn't join that because it was in Spanish, but this is first time in English. So
yeah. How did it go in Latin America with the Spanish reading? Was that good?
it's been going very well because they keep repeating it. They finish the book and then they start another round. I think they already did like 3 or 4 rounds.
Really, really
Yeah.
good. Okay, and the book is getting published by BBT soon in Spanish.
Yeah.
We hope.
Yeah. Soon, yeah.
Yeah, soon. Okay. I
Yeah.
hope it's in my lifetime. I hope I live to see it. Okay,
Yeah.
and does anybody have anything they'd like to ask? How to care for a devotee who's dying, how to speak to the family, how to because that's always difficult. And also when the devotee leaves this world, what to do with the family, how to speak to the family about their grief. That's a big one. And at the time when I wrote this book, I started in 1999, and I wasn't a grief counselor at the time. I became a grief counselor during the pandemic. During COVID, we had nothing to do but stay in the house. So I went back to college and did it online. And had a great time doing it. I did it with the devotee Govinda Nandana, who is living in New Jersey, the state next to mine in the US. And she is already a pastoral counselor. So she decided she would become a grief counselor. And she also works on the grief support group that we do. And right now there's I think 118 devotees from around the world on our grief support group, and they're all grieving a different type of relationship. Some grief support groups um, divide into what type of relationship they're grieving. Like, they put together everybody that's grieving a spouse, and then you have one that's everybody that's grieving a child of any age, an adult child who died, or a young child, or a baby. And then, like that. So we have, a sibling group, but I decided to just put it all together. Everybody who's grieving any type of relationship is in the same group. And this is the only, we have one in Spanish, uh, led by a devotee, Chaitanya Priya, in Argentina. And she has her master's degree as a therapist, and she does a wonderful job. That one's, like I said, all in Spanish. And I can't remember how many devotees she has now in that group, but many, many throughout Latin America. And and this is the only grief groups, the two groups, English and Spanish, that we have for devotees in the world. And I'm really so grateful to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada that we were able to organize this some years ago, and that it's flourishing and that it's giving this comfort and support to the devotees who are grieving. It's very, very important. And the feedback coming from the devotees is it's been very positive, and it's helped many devotees, and some devotees have moved on in their grief work, and some have been with it for many years, and it's okay. There's no timeline when you're grieving. There's absolutely no timeline. We will grieve for the person that we miss for the rest of our lives, but the intensity of that grief minimizes as we go. It's not always the same intensity, and it shouldn't be. As we go along in our grief journey, the intensity of that loss will diminish as time goes on, but we will always miss that person, always in our life. Um, but like I said, that intensity will lessen as time goes on. It just the grief journey is not an easy one, but it really does help to have a grief counselor to guide you, and to have other devotees who are also experiencing loss to walk along with you in your grief journey. It really helps to know that you're not alone in this, that you're not the only one, because sometimes when you're grieving for somebody, you really do feel like you're alone in it. Even though you know with your intelligence that there's other people in the world also grieving, sometimes you feel very, very lonely, and you feel like you're the only one grieving this loss. And it really does help to join a grief support group so that you understand others are also feeling this way. And it does help. It really does. So maybe the next book should be about grief and loss for devotees, because it's very, very, very important that we understand what to say to a devotee who's experiencing this. It's extremely important that we know what to say. And like my last webinar was what not to say to a grieving devotee. What not to say is as important as what to say. So you know, we're all very well meaning, um, but we can say the wrong thing, and and if we do, that's okay. You know, we're even after I've been doing this for 30 years, I can say the wrong thing sometimes. We just put our foot in the mouth, you know, foot and mouth disease, as we call it in the medical field. It's hoof and mouth disease, but we call it foot and mouth disease. And you know, sometimes we just say the wrong thing, and it's okay. We can just apologize and back off. That's all. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that, or I didn't think that that would, you know, I'm sorry if that hurt you. And then just, you know, apologize and go on, you know, just move on to the next subject. It's okay. Um, I don't think dying devotees or grieving devotees expect us to be perfect. I really don't. They just need to know that we understand their unbearable pain, and pain is not always physical. It's emotional, it's mental, it's spiritual. And as we read in the book, The Final Journey, there is such a thing as spiritual pain. And even when a devotee is grieving a death of a loved one, um, it involves spiritual pain. And it can be there even for a senior devotee that's been around, you know, 50 years. There is such a thing as spiritual pain. So does anybody want to talk about spiritual pain, or are we okay with that subject? Any hands up? Any yeses? Traveling?
I just saw Kurna Purna Shakti Mataji unmuting herself. Maybe Mataji had another
No.
question or anything else to add?
That was
I think,
accidental.
Oh, okay.
That was
I think
accidental.
Aradna has a question. I just saw.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Yeah, please unmute yourself and feel free to add anything or.
She wrote
Hare Kr-
something.
Hare Krishna, I just wrote it in the chat. I was just wanting some clarification. What does spiritual pain look like?
Okay, good question. Really good question. We have to know what it looks like in order to help them, right? If we don't know what it looks like, we won't realize they're in that spiritual pain. So, spiritual pain, are we talking about a dying? Let's talk about the dying devotee first. What does it look like when you're dying? Okay. And not just devotees go through this. When I worked on the outside of ISKCON and worked in hospice situations, and oh, there you are, Haribol. Oh, you're lovely, Haribol. It's good to put a face to a name. Um, uh, it's it's good to yeah, when devotees are dying or non-devotees are dying, they still experience spiritual pain. Non-devotees, no matter what religion they have. Like I say in the book, I've only had one atheist, one in 30 years. And he came into the hospice setting, the inpatient hospice in a hospital. We had the whole floor for the hospice. And he was the only atheist I ever took care of in 30 years, believe it or not. And he was so depressed from the second he entered the hospice, knowing he was dying, to the second he died, he was depressed. He didn't want, nobody came to see him, no family, no neighbors, no friends, no one. And he was just laying in his room, very depressed, seemed lonely. I offered him the social worker to come in and speak to him. He refused. I offered him, we had a non-denominational minister, and whatever religion you were, wherever you were at spiritually, he talked to you on that level. He didn't try to make you a Christian. He didn't, nothing. It was wherever you were at. He refused to have him come in. Um, he just could not. He said to me, "You're born, you live, and you die. There's nothing else. When you die, that's it. They put you in the ground, and there's nothing else." So, to me, he seemed in pain. He couldn't, get beyond that there's no God, there's nothing happening once you die. It wasn't like you leave your body, there's nothing beyond the body. To me, that was pain. Why would it be so depressed if he really believed there was nothing more? So for him, that was how he showed it. For those that had given themselves to a religion their whole lives. There, they showed it in other ways. They were one woman I remember. She had COPD. She had chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So she would. This is typical of those that died like that. My mother died with that. They keep this woman especially. She kept a paper with tiny little writing of when she took her breathing therapy, because it helped her to be able to breathe. With COPD, you just can't catch your breath. So she was always in anxiety over that. So her pain, her spiritual pain, when I would try to talk to her, because she was, she put down her religion. She was a Christian, and went to church every week, and but she could not calm her anxiety, and no one could calm her anxiety about not being able to breathe, to the point where she could pray and think about God and think about her spirituality and her religious beliefs enough to not be anxious even for a moment. She was in so much anxiety. And that's just one example. She just couldn't relax. She couldn't, it was always, she was writing and writing and writing when she took her breathing treatment. It was you walked in her room and you could pick up on her anxiety. And I would try to sit with her, hold her hand, try to, I mean, it was so sad how you could pick up on her anxiety. So that was how she showed her spiritual pain. Um, Devotees, okay, we'll get to the subject of devotees. I've had some, and they were very senior devotees, but they started wondering if they ever had any true faith. Did I really believe? Did I really believe fully so that I'm going to go back home? Where am I going to go? That was a big one. That's a big one with devotees. Where am I going to go? Even with a very senior guru, with a sannyasi. I've had sannyasi patients. Where am I going, Sangeeta? I can go to one of four places, one of them said to me. So they start wondering, and I've had, okay, I had one fairly new devotee. He was from Africa. He was the son of a king of his tribe. And he came to America, and right after he came to America and got initiated, he was diagnosed with inoperable cancer. So I drove over 3 hours. I was requested to go to where he was staying and examine him, and I did. And I said, "Is there anything I can do for you?" And he looked at me with these sad, sad eyes, and he said, "Can you make me live?" He just wasn't ready to die. He was in his late 20s, early 30s. He wasn't ready to die. He wanted to come to America so much, and he finally did. And then he's diagnosed with inoperable cancer at such a young age. And he was came to a place where he was living with his spiritual master, the height of his spiritual life. And then all of a sudden he's dying, and he's dying soon. And he didn't want to die. He wasn't ready. So that's very painful for him spiritually. So he said to me, can you make me live? Can you help me to not die? And I said, "I'm so sorry, that I cannot do. I can't do that. I wish I could. I really wish I could." And it was so sad for him. And I felt so sad. I walked out of there like I was a failure.
No.
But I knew that it wasn't me, it was Krishna. It was Krishna. He came to Krishna consciousness right before his cancer came on. And but I wanted so much to help him. And it just, oh God, I walked out of that room like, you have no idea, you know. I wanted so much to just take it away. If I had one wish, it would have been to make him better. And it's like that a lot when you're taking care of people, not just devotees, but people. I have taken care of so many pious patients, so many people that were so nice, so sweet, so pious, and they had such a wonderful family, and they had children. And I took care of one woman, and maybe I mentioned this before, but one young woman in the hospice we built in Vrindavan, and she couldn't speak English, and I don't speak Hindi very well, except how much is that? Sorry, you know. And but I was taking care of her one day at the hospice in Vrindavan, and she was dying of cancer. She had four young sons. They were like elementary school age and younger, preschool, and she had a husband, but she in India like that, in Vrindavan, a lot of times the most important thing would be who will cook for my husband, who will clean for my husband, who will do the laundry, who will raise my children. And so these women know when they're dying that husbands will marry again to do these things. So they know that. And so I asked her, you know, I had the other nurse translate into Hindi for me these questions that I had for her. And you know, I wanted to know what she was really feeling in her heart because it seemed like she always had a smile on her face. And she was so young and beautiful and you know, had a good husband taking care of her, you know, was nice to her. That's a big thing there because there's a lot of domestic violence in Vrindavan. I don't know if any of you know that, but it's very, very rampant there and it trickles down. And I found this out from my god sister who lives there, who has uh, she has a degree in social work, I believe, and she told me that Vrindavan, Uttar Pradesh, okay, the state where that Vrindavan is in, has a very high rate of domestic violence. And out of Uttar Pradesh, Raman Reti, where our Krishna Balaram Mandir is, has an extremely high domestic violence rate. The husband abuses the wife abuses the children hit the cow and the dog. I've watched it and I was amazed. That's why I had lunch with my god sister who lives there and I asked her about it. I said, there's this one house I pass every day when I walk to the Bhaktivedanta hospice, and I see it every day. You know, the wife has bruises on her face. The children, I watch the wife hit the children smack the cow, and then they kick the dog. And she said, this is Raman Reti. This is what happens. It's known for being high in abuse, high in domestic violence. And it just killed me because they're living in such an auspicious place and they're born and raised there and they forget where they are. They forget the blessings that they're receiving. Not all of them, some of them. I don't want to give the impression that it's everybody, but it's some of them. And I got so sad when I heard about this and when I witnessed it a lot. And then when I worked in the hospice, I served there while I was there for a couple of months and I taught the staff. And then I would go upstairs and take care of some of the patients. And this woman with the four boys and her husband, and she's there dying. And I asked her with a translator how she really felt about it. How do you really feel about your dying? And she just smiled, this huge smile. And she went like this and she put her arm in the air and she said, Radhe, Radhe, and she just felt like she said in Hindi to the other nurse, I am going back to Radharani. There is nothing to be sad about. So this is the Bridge Basis. This is somebody who, she was dying and was leaving four young sons, leaving a nice husband, leaving her home, leaving her parents, her siblings, her whole family lived in Vrindavan. And she was happy because she was going back to Radharani. She knew it, she had faith, and there was no spiritual pain for her. So not everybody experiences spiritual pain. That's the point I want to make. Okay. But when devotees do experience spiritual pain, it comes in many, many forms. And I've seen it in our ISKCON devotees, even in the senior most devotees. They sometimes have these doubts like, where will I be going? I could be going straight to Srila Prabhupada in Krishna Loka. I could be going to, if Prabhupada is anywhere else in the material world preaching, I could be going there and help Prabhupada with his mission. Okay, that was one thing. They say I could be going straight to Krishna Loka, or I could be going to Gokula Vrindavan and get trained up like in boot camp. right? It's always called boot camp. I'll be trained up in Gokula Vrindavan, wherever Krishna is, because at any given time, Krishna is performing his pastimes in the material world somewhere. And like Bhakti Swami said, wherever, whenever Krishna is in the material world, which is all the time, he's always on a planet Earth. There's a planet Earth in every universe in the material world, and he always goes to a planet Earth. Bhakti Swami said, just like when the president goes of the United States goes to another country, he stays at the American embassy. So whenever Krishna goes somewhere, which is always in the material world to perform his Leela, he goes to a planet Earth in a universe because there is always a planet Earth. So I thought that was really interesting. And you know, devotees, that becomes a big thing for them when they're dying, is they say to me or their family or a friend, devotee friend, where am I going? Where am I going? And that could be something pleasant for them to think about or talk about with a friend or family member, or it can become spiritual pain. It can go either way. So that's one type of spiritual pain. Another type that becomes very popular these days is uh, regret. A lot of devotees have a sense of regret at the end of life. I wasted time is a huge one. Why did I watch that movie for 90 minutes? I wasted an hour and a half, and I can't get it back now that I'm dying. I can't get that hour and a half back. And I wish I could. Why did I waste time? And why did I waste time surfing the internet? I didn't need to watch those videos on the internet. Why did I go to YouTube and watch all those stupid things? We're not always watching Arctic and classes. We're watching things that are not going to help us at the time of death. I'm guilty of it too. I don't want to think of all the things I watched. That I don't want to meditate on that when I leave this body. So that's wasting time. Anything you've seen or did in this life that you don't want to think about when you're dying, that's wasting time. So we need to think of that when we start to do those things. Okay, I'm going to watch this movie. So and so told me it's really funny. So I'm going to watch it. If you know that it's not going to help you when you're dying, don't do it. Don't do it. Because if you think about it at the time of your death, it's not going to take you back home. Right? So that's the biggest thing that I find when devotees are leaving the body and they're laying there for months meditating on what they're regretting, and that spiritual pain, most of the time it's regret. But there's other forms of spiritual pain as well, but that's a huge one. Wasting time. Time is so precious. Srila Prabhupada said this in Los Angeles one time in a class. He said, time is so precious that even if we waste one moment, it's so unfortunate. We waste one moment's time, he said. We can never get it back. That's how precious it is. He said, even if you have $1 million and you say to a gentleman, sir, if I give you $1 million, can you give me one moment's time? He said, who could you purchase it from? Nobody. Nobody can sell you one moment's time. That's how precious time is. Right? He said
Thank,
this in Bhagavatam class.
mm, thank you so much. It's so powerful. I
Thank
saw
you,
Karunapurna
Mataji.
Sakti.
Thank
I
you so
saw
much.
Karunapurna Sakti Mataji and having her hand up, and then Aradhika Mataji.
Does that help? Prabhu,
Uh,
that gives
Hare
you, yeah, does that
Yes,
help?
what really helped was not only the examples of individuals going through the different types of spiritual pain, but the
Mhm.
counter, the opposite of that, when someone is not going through spiritual pain, what that looks like. So it really helped to clarify the difference.
Good.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you.
thank you.
Thank you. That was a great question. Thank you.
Go ahead and let Erotica ask her question.
Mataji, you can ask. I just want to say thanks to Sangeeta Mataji.
Oh, thank you. It was so nice to have you. Thank you. And
Okay, I have a,
Actually,
go ahead.
okay. Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful book and sharing your experience. It helps me a lot personally and on especially sharing the loneliness and the grieviness through the through which we suffer a lot. And and personally, I want to thank you. I shared my story on Facebook to you 2 days back.
I
So
just
thank you.
answered it. I just answered
Yeah.
it. And
So
if you can send me privately, if you don't want to do it on the grief group, your email, because I have some things I'd like to say to you. And I think it would be good if we did it in private, if that's
yeah,
okay with you. Yeah,
definitely, Mataji. Definitely.
okay.
Hope to hope to meet you or see you in personal some anytime.
Where are you living?
Delhi, India, near
You're in
Vrindavan.
Delhi.
Yeah,
I pray someday that I meet you on the way to Vrindavan. We could meet.
definitely,
Okay,
definitely. Yeah.
so if you can send your email to, rather than
Okay.
put it on the group, if you could send
Yeah.
it to Taravali, she'll send it to me and I'll write to you.
Okay. Okay,
Okay,
Mataji.
all right.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you
Thank
came on. Yeah, thank
Actually,
you.
due to time difference, I was listening recording. Then today is the last day and time is nice here, 8:30. So that's why I joined.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad I got to see you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
So
Thank
please give your email to
Yeah,
Taravali and
yeah,
I'll get it.
definitely, definitely. Yeah,
Okay, I'll
thank
write
you.
to you. I'll write you this week, okay?
Thank you so much, Mati. Thank you.
Thank you, Haribo.
Hare Krishna,
Who,
Mati.
Radhika, who is your guru?
Uh, His Holiness Kritu Das Maharaj. He's a Grasta
Kritu.
Guru.
Is
Yeah,
he is he in Oxford? Is he in, he's not the one in Oxford, right? Kritu?
he is a Grast Guru. He was president in Vancouver and traveled there. And
Okay.
now he is in Vrindavan.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So I look forward to getting your email address. All right.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All right, I've got one real quick for you.
Okay.
Krishna Priya wanted her ashes spread in Vrindavan, in the Yamuna River. Okay.
Yes.
And by training, I'm a geographer. Okay.
I'm
So
sorry, what was that last line?
by
I
training, I'm a geographer. Okay. So
okay.
I look at things in a strange way sometimes. And I'm thinking the Yamuna River is one of the most sacred rivers. Okay. But the majority of the water of the Yamuna has been diverted for irrigation. And what actually is left flowing down the Yamuna is wastewater. So am I looking at this as material, or is it still a Yamuna, even if it's not if it's just the path and not the water? So I worry about things like that.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I know what you mean. It's still the Jamuna. It's still Yamuna River. And I know what you're saying, but we can't look at it in the material vision. We have to see that she's still sacred and it's still the river that Krishna and Balaram swam in and played in with the cowherd boys, and the gopis went in there and bathed and had all of their pastimes in there with Radharani, and Krishna stole their saris and hung them on the tree, and they were hung on the tree by the gopis, and so all these pastimes involved Yamuna River, and it's still the same river. So yes, things have changed due to Kali Yuga, and how things, evolve in this age, but it doesn't mean that she's still not sacred. So her ashes should still go in the Yamuna. That was her desire, and it still should go in the Yamuna. Yeah. It's
Okay,
just that,
thank you.
yeah,
It's just, it's a tough,
I wouldn't,
it's hard for me to, I
well,
understand the pastimes and the history, and
yeah,
to me, that's what makes it sacred,
yes,
not the water that's currently flowing through it.
right, right,
Okay, okay.
yeah. Yeah, Prabhupada swam in there, all the great acharyas. I mean, she is so sacred. And she also has, Jamuna Devi's brother is Yamaraj, the king of death. And they have an arrangement between brother and sister that whoever touches her waters, okay, whose ever ashes are placed in her water, um, her brother Yamaraj never touches that soul. So it's very important that Krishna Priya's ashes go in her water. So please I know your training is in a certain way, and I appreciate that and I respect all that training. But in this case, for Jamuna Devi, she's so sacred. And it would, any devotee that has her ashes in there, it's such a boon spiritual.
Together for the end of life. Sankita Devi, she writes a book.
I'm
Oops.
sorry, who said that? And what did you just say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I had my voice, my video, my audio on. It was not meant for it. I apologize. I just joined today. Thank you. I apologize for disturbing.
No, you didn't. I'd like to hear what you said.
Oh, no, I was just telling my husband that this is a group that speaks about end of life, and I
Oh,
just joined today. So, yeah, I was
oh,
just
okay.
telling my husband that, yeah, and that you had written a book that I'm really interested in.
Oh, I see. Tell me what your name is.
My name is Kalpana. I'm from Edmonton, Canada.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yes,
well, welcome.
thank
We
you.
love
Thank you. I
having
know
you.
this is your last session, and I've been missing a few. And I'm just trying to figure out my how to navigate the Zoom on my phone on my cell phone. So my apologies for disturbing.
No, you're not disturbing. Actually, Taravali has the other sessions, the reading sessions on here, so you can always go back and watch them.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I plan to do that. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so
All right.
much. Thank you
Oh,
so much
that's
for
what
what
you're.
you do. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Taravali can help you. She's very techie. I'm not. So
Okay.
she helps me.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. Hare
Well,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, welcome. Anybody else? We have a few minutes left.
Thank you so much for writing the book and putting the class together and for this reading. It's been very enlightening and opened my eyes to a lot of things and got me thinking about things. And um, anyway, I just want you to know that you are very much appreciated. And Travali for her continuing this work, and dedicating her time to it.
Yeah.
It's a great service, and I thank you very, very much. Very
Thank
much.
you. That's very encouraging. Taravali went to 4 years of college to become a nurse and be a hospice nurse because I asked her to. And I love her for that. I love her for many reasons. But when she did that, it touched my heart. And she and her husband are taking over Vaishnava's care. And, she's now the president of Vaishnava's care, and she's the new up and coming hospice nurse for ISKCON, and she's just incredible. And I just bow at her feet. I mean, she's got 3 young children, and she's doing this anyway. And I don't know too many women that would do that. So she's just sacrificing so much on behalf of her guru and Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees in the movement. So I really appreciate her. she's just super mom. So superwoman. So it reminds me of the 1980s when I was going to college, raising kids, having a husband, having a home, and she's doing it all now. She's the one doing it all. So I'm just old and in the way, and she's the one taking it over. So I really appreciate Taravali and her husband, because if a woman doesn't have a husband that backs her up, and that encourages her and helps with the children and the house and everything else, so she can do her service for her guru and Prabhupada, then everything falls apart. You have to have a good husband who supports you in your service. And Taravali has Kevala Bhakti, and he really is super husband and father. So I really appreciate his help too. She couldn't do this service without him. And I couldn't have done this and started Vaishnava's C.A.R.E 30 years ago without my husband. So I really do appreciate the husbands. They're really important in this project. So very much appreciate Keval Bhakti as
Um,
well.
Thank you so much for all the undeserving appreciation, but um,
It's all true. And there's my girl behind you. Hare
yeah,
Krishna.
we'll see. I don't even know where to start to appreciate you.
No, don't even, don't even. But anyway, hey, Revati, she's going to be a hospice nurse someday.
Yeah. She wants to be a vet.
I love that. Okay, I love animals. Well,
Um,
that was my desire when I was her age. I was going to be
yeah,
a veterinarian.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Well,
good for you, Revati. Good for you. Anyway,
just
so I really, really want to thank everybody who came to the reading, and I just I when this was all Taravali's idea, and Kandarpika, she's our director in Latin
yeah,
America, and I want to thank Kandarpika as well.
yes,
So
yes. It was Kadarpika.
yeah, and I laughed and I said, nobody's going to want to join a club reading my book. I said, I can understand reading the Bhagavatam, but the final journey, no way. And they insisted, so I went with it. But I am so appreciative of everybody that did this. Thank you. Thank you.
This is such an important work that you have done for all of us, and uh, can be appreciated enough. It's so much needed, and I just hope that more and more devotees can tap into this and just learn, because it's inevitable. The sickness and dying, it's inevitable, and I think we all need to be trained to do this,
Yeah.
to help devotees, to serve devotees.
We do. We need a Vaishnava's care team in every town and village. We really do. And we will train you if any of you are interested in being a team leader in your city, town, village. Okay, we will train you how to do it, and we'll do a seminar over Zoom, a weekend seminar in your place at your temple. We can do it on Zoom on a Saturday and Sunday, and get your team going. A team doesn't have to be 80 devotees. A team can just be a handful. You start with that, and then as time goes on, it grows. And that's what you need, so that, and it's not just taking care of the dying. It's even, let's say it's flu season in the winter and there's 10 devotees that are sick, so you make a big pot of soup and you put them in big Tupperware containers, and you get somebody to drive around to the different devotees that are sick, and you drop off containers of hot soup. And boy, do they appreciate that. Just the fact that they're sick, and the kids are sick, maybe the husband's sick and can't go to work for a week, and nobody feels like cooking anything. And then all of a sudden, a member of the Vaishnava's care team knocks at the door and brings a big thing of soup for the family. You have no idea how much that is appreciated. It's so nice, just to feel that the devotees care about you. And it's something so simple. So simple. And even if you come over, a couple of you from your Vaishnava's care team, and you have a little bhajan in the bedroom for the devotees that are sick, they love it. They absolutely love it. Or you read Krishna book to them. My gosh, that is so appreciated. And then you stay an hour, a half hour, and then you go and you go to the next devotee or you go home, and you've just spent an hour giving such joy to the Vaishnavas. And that's what Vaishnavas care is about. So if you have any desire to start a team, then let us know. Contact me or contact Chiravali, and we'll help set up a weekend seminar. And we'll do the whole thing. Don't worry. We'll handle everything. We'll tell you how to advertise for it. We'll do it all. And you just get the people to show up, and we'll do it. Okay. And then you'll have your team, and we'll
Yes.
help you. Yeah, we'll help you how to get it going and what to do and how to be the leader. We need a team leader. So if you're not up to being the team leader, get somebody that will do it, and you help, you assist. That's all. It's quite
Yeah.
simple, really. It's quite simple. And nothing gives you more pleasure, more joy, more heartfelt joy than serving the devotees. What is that quote that you have on your text, Taravali? Something about a gentleman. What is that one? I just
Um, Let me just, I don't know by heart, but
it's
let me
really
just,
a great quote from Srila Prabhupada.
it is a gentleman's greatest duty to be compassionate upon a person who is distressed.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes,
Can you
by
read
Srila
that one?
Prabhupada.
Can you read it one more time?
It is a gentleman's greatest duty to be compassionate upon a person who is distressed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Srimad
our
Bhagavatam.
job. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's our service. That's our seva for this life. And next and next and next forever. That's our seva, is to take care of the distressed in any way, spiritual
Mhm.
pain, emotional pain, any physical pain. We can help. We can help. Of course, if a devotee's dying, we get them on a hospice close by. There's neighborhood hospices, and we try to get a hospice that's friendly with the devotees. And most of them are very open to taking care of people who are in other religions. They're very open to that, the hospice staff, and very respectful. I think I mentioned before how when I did a seminar in Alachua, the social worker of the local hospice came to my seminar, and she gave me a whole paper of questions. And one of them is, when do I take my shoes off at the devotee's home? Where do I put the shoes? She just wanted to be respectful. She wanted to know all these things so she wouldn't offend the devotees. And I thought that was so nice. That was so sweet. So find a local hospice near your temple that can take care of the devotee who's dying, and then the Vaishnava's care team that you'll start will supplement what the team of the hospice doesn't do. Like, we do the Bhagavatam readings, we do the prasadam, we bring garlands from from the deities. We hang up pictures in their bedrooms so they can look at Krishna, and the whole room becomes a Vrindavan. We do all those things that the hospice doesn't do. They provide the medicines, they provide the medical equipment, they bring in the hospital bed, they bring in oxygen if they need it. They'll do all of that. And we bring in Krishna. Okay, we make it the spiritual world in the bedroom. So we work hand in hand with the hospice. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I think we're
Thank you
running
so
late.
much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, both of you. We love you both. This is
We love
Vatsala.
you too,
Thank you.
Vatsala. Thank you. I
Thank
will,
you
Is
I
that
so
will,
much.
Vatsala?
Great
Is that
team.
is that Vatsala?
Yes, it
Vatsala,
is.
yeah.
Oh, Vatsala, she's on our Philadelphia Vaishnavas Care team.
Yes.
I couldn't do it without her. She's amazing. She is
Thank
amazing.
You are
Sangeeta
amazing.
Mataji.
Both of you are amazing for
Oh,
us.
thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you.
Sangeeta Mataji, can I share email address in this chat? Your email address?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Share mine. Yeah.
Okay. I'll just share because who's asking? Let me just see some.
Me,
Shamalota Mataji. Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you want to write to me, no problem. Okay. Please just don't give it out to everybody in the world. Okay. Yeah. I've had that problem lately, especially, somebody shared it with like 200 people on a WhatsApp group, and I'm like, what? So yeah, especially my phone number. I'd rather it wasn't public.
Yeah, I just also wanted to add, if you don't mind, Sangeeta Mataji, if we're also always looking for devotees to help us on the international team. We have a lot of things to always do, and we're striving to do better and better. So we're always looking for devotees to help on that level as well. So it can be remote work, like from your home, from your computer, if you're good
Can you
at
give an
that.
example? Can you give an
Yeah, like for
example?
example, like a person who can, keep us organized and like remind us of meetings and like keep everything organized. There's also a lot of help needed with social media if somebody is good with that. So those are just some of the examples, but we're always looking for help.
Yeah, we have our Facebook page, Vaishnavas Care
Mm-hmm.
International, on Facebook. Poor Taravali has to do that by
Mm-hmm.
herself because I do the grief page on, the grief group on Facebook. That takes up a lot of time. We try to divide everything up, but there's a lot of work. So whatever you can do, even if you put in an hour a week, that would be a great help. Whatever you can do. So we need help on every level. So if you're good on the computer, you're our guy. Okay. Whatever you can do to help, we would love it.
Yes, please come forward, write to us. And I know some of you already filled something out, like healthcare professionals, but you don't have to be a healthcare professional. You can
No,
just, yeah, help in any
just
way you can.
be a caring, loving devotee, and we'll engage you. Okay. You're really
Yes.
needed. Yeah, you're really needed. Okay.
Somebody's asking where to purchase the book. I'm just sharing the website. There's a store on our website.
Yeah.
And
Okay. And we'll send it to you.
yeah, we'll send it to you. I'm just going to share it right here.
We also have Vaishnavas Care Spiritual Care Kits. It's a very nice box that has a magnetic closure, and when you open it up, it becomes an altar at the bedside of a devotee, and inside it has all of the items that you would need when a devotee is dying and for
Yes.
cremation. And each item it's attached to a little booklet, and it tells you like a little card, and it tells you what to do with that item. And also
Mm-hmm.
in the book, it tells you how to prepare the body for cremation, and everything is in that kit that you will need for the cremation. Okay,
Yes. And if
so
you
that's
in
on the
Canada,
store. Yeah,
yes, in the store. If you in Canada, just message me privately, and then it's cheaper because I'm in Canada, so it's cheaper to send things from here than from States. Yeah.
definitely. It's so
Mhm.
expensive sending it from the US, but if you're in the US, I can send it to you and it won't be as expensive with the mailing. Okay, you guys?
Yes.
And we really appreciate you beyond words. Okay, so thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, everyone, very much.
Anything else? Anybody?
Yes. Thank you, everyone. I'm just catching up on the um,
The chats.
messages. Yeah. Please,
Okay,
I
anything
just
else?
shared my email. Okay. If you would like to order a book, if you're in Canada, please message me, email me. Thank you.
Okay, anything
Okay.
else?
I think we're
Munch.
good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. What does it mean exactly? What?
No, that was the first question. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
The rest, yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Oh, glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai
Hare Krishna,
Prabhupada.
Jai
Thank
Hare
Prabhupada.
you,
Krishna.
Haribol.
Thank
Thank
you,
Hare
ma'am.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna. Jai Haribol.
Haribol.
Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Oh, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Haribol.
Krishna.